Hey, welcome back to the Spec podcast. I'm joined by Kyle Connor, Ben Spreen, and Mike Breeling. And today we're going to talk about our time with the Ram Rebel GT, not quite a TRX, and the new Bronco four-door, and a lot of micro mobility we've been playing with, e-bikes, e-scooters, all the little things. Plus, Koenigsegg's making some aftermarket parts for Teslas, and there's a Ford recall and just, a bunch of other stuff. So let's jump right in. Kyle, we have been driving, we just recently gave back the Ram Rebel GT.
And we should mention, we gave it back in one piece.
That's correct. We did not break this Stellantis product, which I don't know if we ever touched on the podcast. Did we?
Oh, explain.
So, yeah, we got the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, which we mentioned on a previous show right before we got it. And then before we were like going to go film with it, and we got hit on I-25 during a snowstorm by a runaway Tacoma. Well, not runaway, but he did run away. And we were rendered undrivable on the center median. Because
what that means is the dude ripped the freaking wheel off the car.
Kyle, in his excellent evasive maneuvers, although on ice it's a little harder, did full lock left, and the Tacoma just ran our wheel over and, ripped it off the front of the SUV. It just looked like a mess. But we still made TikToks and got millions of views, and it looked great. Even crashed in the snow. So
everyone knows about that. I go around town now, and they're like, "Oh, that was you who crashed the car." I'm like, "Well, the dude crashed into us."
Yeah, so it wasn't our fault.
So they're still giving you products, which is good.
Yeah, well, it wasn't our fault. Like, things happen, of course, but I mean, it's nice that they did loan us another vehicle.
So Tacoma stayed away from our Ram. Kyle, were you sad to let this go, or did you really enjoy driving it? How'd you feel about the Ram Rebel GT?
So I didn't drive it as much as I wanted to, and I'm a truck guy. So driving it around, I was like, this is great. There is something nice about just sitting up, having V8 power, great noise, just having the ability to know I could find anything and throw it in the back. And it had a 33-gallon fuel tank, had the extended range option. So it had 600 miles on a full tank or something crazy. And I genuinely loved it because I love trucks. Did I like this particular truck over other trucks as a daily driving device, which honestly is what trucks are used for most of the time? Not really, no. I think there were some weird intricacies with this truck that would probably stop me from getting it, notably the price. The way this particular one was spec'd was
$72,000.
Yeah, $71,995.
Spec a Rebel to $72,000.
This was not maxed out either.
It wasn't even maxed out.
You can spec it to about 76, which is actually more than the entry price for a TRX. I would rather have a base TRX, I think.
Yeah, so that's what I kept thinking was I'd go hard throttle and I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to drive it gently. It had the 48-volt mild hybrid e-torque system, which in its current iteration was awesome. Really not too many complaints. And we'll talk about some complaints you had, Jordan. I think you had more complaints than I did, actually. I just got in it, drove it like a truck, really enjoyed it. Wish we could do some towing and off-roading, but we just had a busy week. We still produced a ton of content with it. But that's the thing. For the same money or a little bit more, I'd go TRX. The thing that we're ignoring to mention is we're living in this crazy time frame where TRX is probably a marked over sticker. So, that's probably not as close of a price gap in the real world as it is in our dream journalist world where we just look at a price and that's what the car is. It's a nice truck. You can nitpick it. The UI sucks.
Look how big Apple CarPlay is. Look how big. It takes up the whole screen.
Yeah, but that's actually good because there's other systems that the Mach-E, where
it does the top half.
It does the half, and it's annoying. But now Mach-E gets the full screen. So I think this is a new thing that Apple has allowed automakers to do for the vertical screens.
Yeah, Apple basically re-optimized their software to work vertically, and it does work. There's still some tweaks they need to do, and I wish Apple would give more customization within the CarPlay environment to the user.
They need to hire our friend at BMW.
Yes. Yeah.
We won't mention any names, but Jordan and I know the man who does all the CarPlay and Bluetooth integration for BMW, and he's awesome.
I met my hero I didn't know I had. So we were talking to this guy who works there at BMW booth and CES. By booth, I mean giant exhibit. And I'd mentioned, I was like, listen, your cars are the fastest to connect wirelessly to CarPlay, and they just have an excellent responsive UI. It's like, it's perfect. And he was like, yes, thank you. I am the person involved, like, or like overseeing that. And I was like, oh, it's you. I was like, I'd shake your hand, but it's just like, it was crazy to meet.
Yeah, I mean, I will say my my iPhone connects wirelessly to my Mini as soon as I like turn the car on. Like less than a minute, 10 seconds later, it's like Apple CarPlay's up on the screen.
And then there's Uconnect 5. and then there's Uconnect 5 that just struggles with a lot of things. So like, for instance, me and Kyle got in and we were like, oh, it's cold, let's turn our heated seats on. We each had to take turns, and while one person was doing it, it was slow and buggy, and we had to wait for that to actually enable. And then if I tried to turn mine on before his finished, it would cancel his out and we would start over. It was so maddening. And Apple CarPlay didn't always work, and I actually had the screen just completely black out on me, completely stopped working. I even restarted the truck, still wasn't working, and then later timing got in and it was working fine. So just buggy things. But yeah, like Kyle said, it's a truck. It drives like a truck. It does truck things. It's just fine if you're not really picking it apart. I think the premium sound system is very mediocre. There's just a lot of things I'm not a super fan of. If it was like 50 grand, which you can get it starting at that price, great. I would just get this relatively base. But the GT package itself gives you kind of the faux TRX sounds. Like, it sounds exciting, has the intake and the exhaust, and it, some of the visual aesthetics. But yeah, overall, I don't think I could choose this over like an EcoBoost, honestly.
Well, the new F-150 is an amazing truck in almost any of its guises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think manufacturers need to take a look at the way they're doing technology and the way customers interact with it. And what they should be forced to do is, the people who are trying to design the infotainment and UI, HVAC controls, all of that, they should be forced to go enter a car that's like 20, well, I'm not even that. It should be like 0 degrees outside. You should have to get in that car and then set your HVAC. Because when you're freezing cold, to get into a freezing cold car, you get impatient very quickly. So if I have to like do a bunch of stuff to get my heated steering wheel and heated seats and like climate dialed back up to hot, or wherever I had left it wasn't the right area, that's not good.
And yeah, this was laggy even after the remote start. And then Jordan and I got in the car at the same time, the truck at the same time, and we couldn't both adjust settings because the touchscreen only allows one at a time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was quite infuriating. These paddles are interesting as well.
The stupid rear steering wheel buttons.
It doesn't bother me as much as you.
It bothers me.
I don't like them.
I guess
it doesn't bother me either. I've been in plenty. I've owned a Jeep Wrangler with them, and I find them pretty convenient, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess like they are odd, but it wouldn't stop me from buying it.
No, yeah, it's not a deal breaker, but it is weird having like paddles where you can only like really hit part of the paddle because the paddle is cut out because of the button. And they're really nice paddles, nice aluminum, like it just felt really good. But yeah, but we let this go and we replaced it, or it got replaced by the 4-door Bronco. Kyle, which trim is this?
Maxed out Sasquatch, baby, with the 37s.
Oh man. So how is it? I haven't been up there yet. I'll be seeing it hopefully tomorrow. But
yeah, I actually had to run an errand and I took it out to farm country, which there it is. So in our town, you can go west into the Rocky Mountains or east to farmland. And I'm talking like 3 miles east, 3 miles west. And so this was like a 10-minute drive, and it just is like Kansas until you hit the ocean at that point. And looked great out there. Really good, cruising 55, 60 miles an hour. Comfortable lane, pushes you back in, no lane centering, but like for everything that you would never think when you have to evaluate a Bronco, which is oh, let's take it off-roading and go mud bogging and rock crawling and all this stuff. But like everyone's just going to drive them on the street. Really good at that. Amazing heated steering wheel. Best heated steering wheel I've ever used ever. Heats right up. And these are the important things. Heated seats, awesome. Sound system, surprisingly good for a car that has removable doors. And the wind noise wasn't terrible. Now, I had driven this exact car a few months ago, but we never actually made any like full reviews on it. So now they've given it to us for a week, but we had like an early view in this exact one, which was great to get back into an old friend. Has 9,000 miles. It feels ragged on, like its wheels are curved and like the transmission just feels loose. Like I launched it, just like nailed it from a light to see what it would do. And then it was like engine was like under load, but it wasn't moving. And then like something unlocked in the transmission and then it was like, and I'm like, oh, like, it felt like it was trying to go 2 gears at the same time, like a trans brake. It just, it's feeling a little tired, I have to say. And I can't remember feeling that when I drove it when this car was fresh. So we'll have to play around with it. It was, everything was up to temp. It's just had a rough life. So it's hard to say if it's this particular car or, but yeah, we're going to do a ton with it. We're going to take it off-roading. I did not drive it today though, because, we just had a sheet of ice everywhere. Colorado's not, we're great at driving in the snow here, but ice is an East Coast thing. No one has studded tires down here at the foothills. Up in the Rockies they do, but there were a bunch of accidents in front of our house this morning. I was like, the Bronco can stay in the driveway. I'm not going to risk that car crashing that car. So we'll take it out eventually.
I drove a 2-door Bronco, and I feel like this is a car we haven't talked about yet. And so we briefly shared some thoughts on it. How much was yours spec'd out to? Do you know?
Haven't looked yet. I only drove it for a few minutes. Jordan, do you know? It's a Mac. It's expensive. It's got to be.
I'm not sure. Yeah, probably 60 something. Yeah.
Okay.
The 60s. I think they max out in the 60s.
Okay. The 2-door one I had was in like the mid 50s, I think, because it had it's the same package with the big tires, everything, hard top.
Yeah.
And I came away from it thinking that I like it more than a Wrangler, but if I want that style, I think I just have a Land Rover Defender, truthfully. Like,
yep.
It's just so much. This is the problem. The Defender is so much nicer 95% of the time. And it will probably still get me to the same location off-road with a little more difficulty than maybe the Bronco will, not having the same articulation. But
a Bronco's definitely more capable of a machine.
Yes, no denying that.
Now there is a new Defender in the fleet here, and perhaps we could stage a little comparison.
Get a 90. That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's only a 110, and it's like a base or SE model. But it looks pretty good, whatever. So I agree with you, Ben. The thing was, Timon and I drove this Bronco and then a Wrangler back to back. And like when we got in the Wrangler, it felt like we went back 50 years. We were like, oh my God.
Well, like the steering in the Wrangler, by comparison to the steering in the Bronco, is like moving back a couple centuries. It's probably solid axle versus independent front suspension or something playing into it. But like you do feel a little more connected in the drive. Like,
yeah, the Bronco.
It's a good halfway point between Wrangler and Defender or something like that almost, or G-Wagon maybe.
Yeah, So Bronco, look, at the end of the day, people drive these cars on the road 95% of the time. And the Bronco is by far a superior vehicle on the road without question. It has the 2.7 liter V6 in this one, which I actually think I would get the 4-cylinder. I don't think you need the power. It's way too
for the manual, yeah.
I'd get a manual because the auto is annoying and it's 10 gears and that you have to use the plus minus and it's always those. Yeah. But like this thing at like 2,500 RPM in manual mode, when you nail it, has so much torque. I was like, oh my goodness, is this thing just gonna pull apart from the chassis? Like it was insane. Like I don't know if it was some like overboost crazy thing it went into, but it just like mid-range just blew my mind how fast it was. And I was like, I don't need this in an off-roader. I'd get 4-cylinder, manual, crawler gear, Sasquatch, a little bit, but I'd do 4-door. I'm not into 2-door cars personally.
This is what I want.
Yes. I like those doors too.
The 2-door with the McLaren Senna doors. I mean, it's an aftermarket option, but the aftermarket is giant for these things. But yeah, 2-door in this yellow with the tan, with the manual and the 4-cylinder. Yeah, this is all me. But
the one you're showing is interesting because it doesn't have the keypad on the door. Do you know the way that works?
You just pull it off.
It's just stuck on with like double-sided tape. It's
That's
not
funny.
like
you shouldn't have it.
mounted.
There's no reason for it.
Well,
Yeah.
I like the Ford keypad. I especially like that you can lock it without a key, which is really handy if you forget and you're near the car. And I think that's useful because apps aren't always perfect. But because the doors come off, that keypad on the Jeep is just a little wireless remote. Like you take it off and carry it around with you if you wanted to unlock and lock the car. It's kind of funny to see that. It's a clever solution actually to keep that functionality.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, early days for the Bronco, we'll spend more time with it, but initial impressions are amazing heated steering wheel.
That's all you know. Also in the studio, wanted to touch really quick on our micro mobility we've been unboxing. And it's kind of fun because, media vehicles don't arrive in a box. We just, drive them. These all come in boxes. You can see the boxes behind them in this photo if you're watching online on YouTube. Giant boxes with essentially 80 to 90% assembled bikes. But how hard the last 10 to 15% to assemble it's
no, that's been the case for the ones you've done. You should have seen the one we had to do today. We had to put the hub on with the chain and then all the other stuff.
Wow.
And it was such a pain in the butt.
Wow. Well, yeah, we have a lot of these. I don't know how many we have total and how many are still coming, but it's a large chunk.
Yeah, should I give a rundown of what we have here already? Because we have so many bikes coming this week, but I'll at least kind of explain, because 3 weeks ago, I didn't know the difference between an e-bike from one company to another. I had never heard of any of them. I just totally ignored it. But now after riding these bikes, we have biking trails everywhere. We're an extremely bike-friendly city, so it's the perfect place to test these units. I can ride from my office to the house and never see a public road. It's just a whole trail network, or I could ride on the bike lanes on the public road. It's really awesome. So let me wheel a couple of these bad boys over here. Just give me a second. And the first is coming over now. We have for our listening audience, not on YouTube. I'm stumbling a bike here. Let me hold this thing down. Perhaps the show and tell isn't going to work so well on the podcast form. This is the Ride One Up number 5, and it is the, what's it called again, Timon? Yeah, the Core 5. So this is like sort of the entry-ish level bike. This is bare bones, but still kind of like nice and good quality. Think like Honda Accord. It's not a bad car. It's just basic. So it's still got the Shimano 7-speed, 750-watt peak motor, 500 nominal. And it's only $1,000, $1,045, and has
that's pretty decent.
50 miles or so. Charges in 3 to 4 hours. Pretty sweet. And
no suspension on that, it looks like.
Front, actually no suspension on this bike.
Okay. Could be fixed if you really want to.
To something in this range, which is coming over now. This is the KBO Breeze step through, and this is a different style of bike where there's no bar this way.
That's nice.
Larger bikes, next level up in terms of quality. Nice bike for sure. 5 levels of pedal assist, throttle only. These are all class 3 e-bikes, so they go 20 on throttle, and then you can pedal them up to 28 with assist, and then the assist shuts off, and then it's hard to go faster. So they kind of limit you there.
Actually, this is maybe a small side note on bikes, but it's nice to see that type of bike frame in the US, because if you go to most countries outside the US, you'll get that style of bike frame, because bikes are used as a form of transportation because they are bike friendly generally, especially in Europe. But here, that's almost sometimes called like a woman's frame or something. But there's no reason why me as a man would not benefit from not having to like throw my leg over the top bar. So it's kind of neat to see that coming into the US market at least.
Yeah, I really like it a lot, actually. The step throughs, the downside used to be that they weren't as stiff, but now with modern technology, it doesn't really matter. They're a little bit heavier though. So this is the Mac Wheel Pro adult scooter front hub motor here. So front wheel drive, does mad burnouts. And this is this thing.
I've had experience with front wheel drive e-scooters. They don't do hills in the wet very well. They just burn out the whole way.
So this one recommends not riding in the wet.
That's why.
I did ford about 2 inches of water though, and it still works, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Jordan, you want to give a little rundown on your impressions of this? Because we've actually ridden this the most so far, because it's the only scooter we've received up to this point.
Yeah. It's so scooters. I mean, kind of like Mini Lime and Bird and all of them. They're so rough. I mean, they have the most of them have the non-flat tires, like they're just solid rubber basically, and it's just jarring to like go over any sort of bump. And like when me and Kyle took it to lunch, I had to cross I think 3 sets of railroad tracks. That was just not great.
And you have such a small wheel that it does not go across a bump. Everything's a bump.
This is the last style of bike I want to show this week. We'll talk more, but this is a fat tire e-bike, which means the tires are more than
chunky.
Yeah, chunky, more than 4 inches wide. Nice suspension, big ass 52-volt battery system here. Thing rips. This thing is awesome. 7 levels of pedal assist in this Magi cycle, and this is the only non-step through cruiser that they offer. So the other ones are all step throughs. I'd probably go for it because I don't think this is as aggressive to like go super off-roading with, but yeah, this thing's been pretty good. It's my favorite so far. And so this is what I've been riding most of the time because I'm a big guy. This thing just fits me a little bit better. So there's
what's the MSRP on that one?
I don't know offhand, but it's actually extremely reasonable. It's under $2,000 or right around.
It's $14.99 right now, but it's like $17.99 in normally. But the last time they had the normal price, who knows? It's like one of those things that's like permanently on sale.
That's not a bad deal at all.
Yeah, but I'm really into this Magi cycle. I like this thing.
I like
and we'll do a little showcase every week.
Yeah, that was easy to assemble as well. So gonna do more unboxings.
Jordan must have assembled that one.
I'd be curious to see about these sort of like retrofits for people with existing bicycles. I remember seeing something a while back that was like a hub motor front wheel that you could just throw on any bike, keeping the gear train of the bike all the same. And I think it tied into like an app or something to configure the modes, or maybe it was a remote. But you basically just threw a wheel on the front and then boom, had pedal assist, which seemed like a cool idea. Yeah. It was also like the same price as one of those e-bikes when I looked. So,
Yeah, you might want the ground up designed platform for it. But check out Out of Spec Scootz. That's where we are putting all these videos of all these micromobility components and vehicles, and it's a lot of fun doing unboxing, but also reviews are coming as well. So a lot of fun things going on there. I do want to
take it off any sweet jumps.
No jumps. Well, I did jump off a curb on the bicycle, which the big fat tire one didn't even notice. So
Sasquatch package.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, perhaps one of the things I want to do a little bit more of is tying in our Scootz channel with the car stuff, or cars into Scootz as well. And one of the things that we pitched to Rivian, to be totally transparent, was a whole bunch of videos we wanted to make for them, hopefully to get us a car as soon as possible. TFL has one for a week. I don't know if it's a media vehicle or like loaned to them by a Rivian employee, but
it's an employee,
yeah, but it's definitely something going on there. But that's amazing. They're doing some really cool things with this truck. And so, I want to tie some of that in with the micromobility, show the gear guard, scooters in the front, stuff like that. So I've been enjoying the Rivian content from TFL. Drag race against TRX, super interesting. It just smoked the TRX. It was amazing.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Happy.
But let's switch gears to some news really quick. I know Kyle's not. I don't know. He's not that big about Unplugged Performance but he maybe like Koenigsegg. I don't know.
I think Unplugged Performance is doing a ton for the Tesla community. It's getting excitement out there. I just have never used any products on my car because I've just kept it stock. So nothing.
And these may be really expensive too, which
I just think it's kind of silly to like modify a Tesla. To be honest, it's an iPod on wheels. Like there's nothing exciting about it. I think you get some good wheels and you move on. But like my good friend Drew, he's going crazy with his car and involved in all these projects, and Unplugged is doing some things. I personally just am like, I don't think their body kit looks good, and I just think it looks kind of silly to modify an electric car this way. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, they're fast, but they're not fun, in my opinion. If you want to go to the tracks, spend all this money buying like a Miata and ripping around. I don't know.
Yeah, or a Lotus Exige. Yeah, that's the carbon. there's a Lotus Exige here, I think, in my neighborhood. That's full carbon fiber. The entire body, every single component on it is carbon fiber, and it is a complete track monster, supercharged. It's loud and uncomfortable, and his wife barely lets him keep it. But yeah. But this is an interesting concept, and it's interesting. All the comments I've seen on people sharing this article around is the people who are like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" And there's also people that are like, "Wait, you can modify electric cars," which, in their defense, there's not much you can do
because they're not touching drivetrains. Until we can start touching drivetrains, I think I'm not interested in electric car modifications. What do you think?
I'm in the same boat.
So the ones I love are the ones that are like ground up or conversion. Like Kyle and I saw a lot of these at Howdy. Like we saw a Miata that was converted. We saw I saw at the Concours d'Elegance an old like 70s 911 with a wide body that been converted to electric using 4 Zero motorcycle drivetrains and 8 Zero motorcycle motors and 4 batteries. And it's just like totally custom work, except they did partner with Zero on it, which was super cool. So it's cool to see like some manufacturers being like gung-ho about it. Like they're like, oh yeah, let's help you out. And then some are like very locked down, like, no, you can't chip tune our cars or do anything. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting age we're branching into. I mean, even Kyle.
Is an interesting thing that we left out. It's not with Koenigsegg, the auto division. It's with their manufacturing division. So it's not like we're going to see like a Koenigsegg powered Tesla or a Tesla powered Koenigsegg. I think it's going to be, individual parts designed by Unplugged Performance that will then be produced by Koenigsegg, because they've done a ton of work in the carbon industry. The big question to me is, are you going to notice the quicker lap times of I'm just making numbers up, I don't know what it costs, of a $9,000 spoiler made out of carbon fiber or some sort of composite that would cost $400? Those are not actual numbers. Don't quote me on that. And I think the answer is no. I think it's just a cool factor. Certainly, this is really cool to see, a start of collaboration. I know Christian von Koenigsegg has driven a Tesla for years as his daily vehicle. They're not new to Tesla at Koenigsegg. And we all know Unplugged and Tesla have a great relationship. So it all works, holistically. But, if you're buying this stuff for your Tesla, is it the best bang for your buck for performance or not? And I don't know. We've never tested it. I don't think anyone's done a side-by-side comparison. I don't think it matters. People are going to buy it no matter what. For me, though, like, I'd much rather just go function over style. But that's,
I think that's just with EVs. We don't have the highly functional modding scene yet, because it's such a different territory. And what I find interesting about this is, like, if you're building a Model 3 race car, like Unplugged kind of has done that stuff, I think you can justify. But we probably know a pretty high percentage of the people who do track Model 3s and things like that, and who are like competitively, racing or driving them, in time tax. I wonder if even they, as the target audience for this, would see the value that it's bringing, to the extent that the cost is, at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And really that's just more of a question than it is an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's, do you go, like, I guess I don't know what this is going to cost, but I can only imagine it's a ton. And so many people are obsessed with carbon, which I'm just not. I see carbon and I get turned off, and I'm like, oh, I don't want any of that. This is already a 4,500 pound car, or whatever it weighs. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of not really going to make anyone faster, is my opinion.
Yeah, don't forget
But you will have the coolest Model 3 at the SoCal Tesla Owners Meetup, which is where this is going to be most important.
Well, that's the thing. It's just bragging rights. It's, I modified this and spent this much money. And look, I love that part of car culture. It's a very Japanese side of car culture. Modifications and tuning and showing off your body kits, and that's great. But it's just not my style. I want my car to look worse than stock. I want the badges off. I don't want anyone to know what I have, and then I just want to smoke them.
Smoke them.
Yeah, just don't forget about the driver mod. But I am one that loves like looks, and that's why I added like a lip spoiler to my Miata, which does literally nothing. But
that makes me worry every time you pull into a parking lot.
And stress.
Yeah. And Christian von Koenigsegg does have a Miata, so got to be grounded in something.
He is the coolest man alive.
He's doing cars right.
What was that documentary on Netflix a while back? I don't remember
It was the Koenigsegg
Apex
one.
JF shot it, which is now Tangent Vector. I think that was before they were Tangent.
Okay, yeah.
They did it for Drive.
Great stuff. We're gonna switch to some electric truck news really quick because this was interesting to me. Bollinger, who we've seen the B1 and B2 for years. I don't know when they were first unveiled, but they've always been like this, aspirational prototype. Kyle's favorite thing, just a design on wheels that has no actual numbers tied to it. And then what happened recently was they essentially didn't per se cancel it, but they indefinitely delayed it for the sake of developing for commercial scenes, which I think they're understanding there's a lot that commercial scenes would want to look for in electric vehicles. We're seeing some companies like Lightning eMotors kind of focus on that. Kyle and I saw some other companies in California and Vegas also keeping their eye on commercial. And even Rivian, they're doing a van for Amazon and probably a lot of other things as well. But Bollinger, I don't know, who knows why, but basically what happened is they're not making their quote unquote passenger cars or trucks anytime soon, or maybe ever. I don't know if it's because there's so much alternatives already out there. Like they were so far behind the scene, although Cybertruck's been delayed to who knows when as well. That's been removed from Tesla's website. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting, but they're going to focus on class 3 to class 6 trucks, which they look so rad. Like I would have loved to see some passenger Bollingers out and about. Mm-hmm. Like it's what I wish the Hummer EV would have looked like more Hummer H1 vibes. But it's going to be cool to see them in a commercial sense. And
this is not news. We've known for this for years. They've been open in saying they are getting into the commercial space. They only want to operate. Well, they never said this publicly, but I know a lot of the guys at Bollinger. Commercial was their business model. I love the guys at Bollinger. I'm friends with them. I know a lot of people at the company. And I don't think I ever expected their trucks to make production. They were just like boxes on wheels. It was a front, in my opinion. This is nothing they've told me. It was a front of marketing to get people to know about their commercial business. And they want to sell chassis, and they want to sell the powertrains and the hardware for others to then upfit in the ways that they want. This is just my perception. So no news here. I don't even think we covered it on the Inside EVs or Swerve side because it was just so, we've known this for a long time. So, interesting vehicles from a design perspective, but they were never really fully baked and stuff like this.
Electric vehicle you can't buy, you won't be able to buy. Got it.
Moving on.
Yeah, speaking of trucks that you can't buy, and who knows if they'll ever come out, Edison Future.
How did they make it in our podcast? Who let this happen?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so Jordan, who's running the show here? What's going on?
We've never talked about these, and
Thank the Lord, let's not.
Yeah,
should we make our own electric truck startup? It seems like the barrier is pretty low.
I know.
You just gotta get a rendering and say some things about range that you don't have to deliver on, and boom,
$100 a reservation. Let's go.
Yeah, let's put some money in the bank account.
We'll make it $99.
Yeah, we'll undercut everyone.
$99. And Kyle's pointed out, you may as well say 1,000 miles on a charge because they have nothing about batteries in here. So Edison Future is trying to go truck.
Also, who picked all the stories from Motor Trend? They're our competitors. What are we doing here?
no one at Survival's wrote about this.
For good reason.
There's really no news here, but we had never talked about them other than their weird design and the fact, like Kyle saw them, we saw them at LA Auto Show and CES, and it's so weird having the front row has 3 seats, which is fine. Other trucks do that. But the center seat has the headrest just as tall as the passenger seats. And so if you look in the rearview mirror, you can't see past any of the headrest.
Yeah, but they might do the digital rear mirror thing like most cars have.
Oh, it will. They might do a load of things. Literally nothing on this is, safety approved or anything yet. It's all a concept.
Look, I don't think we need to, I'm not taking the stance that I don't want more electric cars from more startups. I think we're at a turning point in the auto industry where, smaller companies have the opportunity, and really the opportunity for the first time in the last 70 years to make a new company and be successful. They've already had Tesla pave the way, do the hard work, change people's minds, open up the world of investment. We now have Rivian, a new car company that's coming in, Lucid as well. So there is a path to production and a path to success, although Lucid and Rivian yet to be fully realized at this point. And I don't think we need to take the stance. Yeah, and well, I don't know, but I don't want to take the stance that I'm against any of this. What I am against, not really against, just like not interested in covering, like stuff that we shouldn't make videos on and stuff, is all of the noise in that space. I think we'll let everyone else drown all that out, and then as soon as they get to the next level, which is production plant acquired and prototypes rolling out, with the intent of a soon delivery, then that's when I think we get involved and we start covering and things like that. So I'm not against.
You got to have the ability to make a tangible thing at the very least, right? Like it's the lowest bar.
Like talking to their engineer or whoever we spoke to when we were at the LA Auto Show just did not leave me with any confidence this would turn into a real thing.
Yeah, and that's a weird disconnect because a lot of people at the company are driven and passionate, which is good. That's what they need to succeed. But how much of that is like this false generated passion by the company morales versus like tangible things? And so I'm excited to see Rivian and Lucid actually delivering vehicles, and hopefully we can put Rivian through our testing soon, because we had a great first drive, but it was in their environment. Essentially, it was almost completely controlled. Still impressive, and it's cool to see companies like that doing unique things. But let's shift to some actual things you can buy, although none of us will be buying because they're probably going to be so expensive or exclusive. But I guess the 911 is hitting its 50th, I almost said 100th, 50th anniversary this year. And this
Porsche
special
design.
Porsche design.
Yeah. With the stunning Targa. And everything about this is awesome, which I guess was the color is based off of chronograph. Like Porsche, in 1970, they made like a chronograph watch thing. And it was the first one that was all black. So that's what the color code is off of. And satin, black and satin platinum, which is such a good, clean color combination. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it looks great. The interior is just always going to be my favorite part with those seats. But
oh yeah,
the colored accents on the outside, it's definitely a really nice car that we'll probably never see one of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many they're making. Probably not many, 750 or something.
500, I think.
500, okay.
Or is it for the watch?
Hear that the 992 GT3
750
to 9,000 RPMs?
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's interesting. This is a nice watch.
This is
with the car.
Thank you, Jordan. No, this is annoyingly
it could be yours for under 200 grand. And then there's also
the Targa. It's like the worst handling one's the heaviest 911, and so it's just very much a design thing and not performance related.
Well, it's probably one of the more stylish 911s. I think universally people seem to have an attraction to the way it looks. So I see if you're going to make that version, why you do it with the Targa. Kind of works.
Yeah. And then basically the same type of mindset for the 20th anniversary Cayenne is the platinum, which just it's almost like how you should expect platinum. A Cayenne.
It's one package that gives you everything you want, right?
Yeah, which is that's what
the platinum editions always generally have been, and they usually come at the end of the life cycle before a redesign, I think.
They did, I think, with the last gen at least. So my guess is we will see a facelift
electric one. Come on.
In the 23 model year, if this is what we're getting for 22.
Yeah.
Didn't it just get an update for 21?
19, I think, wasn't it? Or 18?
This body style was in 2019, I think.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a long time. I haven't really paid attention.
I know,
but they did get the newer PCM out of the Taycan for 22. And I think in 21 they did the bigger hybrid battery thing. So some small
maybe
changes.
that's why I thought it got an update. Anyway, big Cayenne fan. Honestly, like if you need,
so am I. I love a Cayenne.
Nice SUV that rips. That's the only option in my book.
Yeah,
and it tows 7,000 pounds. Can we just talk about that for a minute?
That's really good.
The base Tahoe can't even do that.
Wow.
So yeah, Cayenne to me would be like the perfect car to take my track car to the track. I'm sure a lot of people do.
Tons of Porsche people do that. That's always the coolest. When you see the Cayenne Turbo towing the GT3.
Yeah,
but I always love it when it's a first gen Cayenne Turbo.
Yes.
Yeah,
the Turbo S first gen or Turbo. It's like a 05.
Yep.
And it's got a $200,000 car in the track.
And probably more money sunk into the Cayenne for repairs. But
yeah, by this point.
Yeah,
they're pretty strong vehicles though. The first gens you just cannot break. The newer stuff though, I don't know.
I love seeing them on the road still. Like when you see a nice first gen, you posted a picture one a little while ago.
We have the Mintus Turbo S first gen Cayenne, super clean, white on tan car, really nice in town.
Yeah. So Ben, how's the Taycan in your neck of the woods? You have new wheels on it?
I do have new wheels on it.
I don't remember if we talked about that last week.
I don't think we did.
Do you have a picture of them?
You posted it on Twitter, I think.
I texted someone. I don't know. I don't think I posted the wheels on Twitter yet, actually.
No,
I don't think I have.
You did.
What kind of social media person are you?
I can
Not very good.
I can track down the photo.
Track it down, yeah.
But where do you find them?
I one day decided I didn't like how I wrapped the wheels, which I thought would help me like that style of wheel more.
After you spent like 4 hours doing it.
No, I spent like 8 hours wrapping the wheels. It took a very long time laying on the floor in the garage. I didn't take the wheels off, which I should have done. Recommendation, take the wheels off if you're going to do that. And so I went about a week. I was like, it's just not right. And I didn't really like any of the standard Taycan sedan wheel options, at least given the price for some of them. So these are a set of 20-inch avant-garde, I think M510s, something like that. And they look perfect on the car.
Yes.
It definitely fits the look of the Taycan really
It's
well.
a lot better.
Oh, yeah. And I got them used, including tire pressure monitoring system and tires mounted from a guy who had them on his Panamera Turbo, and they fit pretty much perfectly. So not a bad deal. We went to Atlanta and did the Porsche Experience Center on the track and all that stuff and kind of made a trip out of it when we picked them up.
Yeah, it looks great.
I think there's pictures I posted at the PEC, the Porsche Experience Center, but it does look really good. The wheels make a difference. So kids, if you're listening, don't cheap out on wheels when you buy your Taycan.
Or
just pay
the
for
moral
them
of
from the factory.
Hang on, better way to look at this. Don't pay money for wheels you're not 100% satisfied with when you could just pay nothing and then put aftermarket wheels on it anyways. That's probably
look how
the right
good
choice.
The brake calipers look now.
I know, it has brakes.
They're
you can see them
massive.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good looking car.
I think the rear brake is actually even larger visually.
So now you need lowering springs.
No one makes them for it. So if you want to connect with anyone and have them develop it and hook us up, let's do it.
No one's going to develop a suspension system for a non-air car because everyone buys air suspension on their Taycan.
I realize I should have done that. Yeah, I should have probably
Just
done
cut
that.
the springs.
But also, like, at the same time, the standard car, when you just have the dynamic dampers with the coil springs, thing drives amazing in Sport Plus. It handles great. Like, there's no need for it, but you just can't make it look good.
Cruiser.
I drove a spring car, non-air. Was it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you almost can't tell the difference between the air and the spring car. And if you want a sportier feel, the spring's a little bit sportier.
That's a Ben question. Ben, Kyle, ask your question again. Ben, you should know the answer to that.
The German spec car, I did the range test and I took it up Angela's
pink one?
The pink one was large battery rear drive, I think without air suspension.
Probably didn't have it, yeah.
Because
you can get it with either battery size.
Air?
Yeah, the rear drive car you can get springs on all variants of battery. Yeah. I honestly, like, I couldn't tell you that you need to get air for ride quality. I would tell someone you need air because you want to slam it and have it look better. That's the real reason I see.
100%.
Yes.
All the time. And then off-road for dirt. I need air. I wouldn't be able to have one without it.
I think I'll order it on the next one at this point. I'm pretty sure.
Sport Turismo.
That was nice about the e-tron.
Yes, Sport Turismo rear wheel. Yeah, that's news today as well. We haven't even talked about this yet. I never thought I would be saying this, but if you, like me, really want a rear wheel drive sports wagon that's also electric, Porsche's now got you covered because they're making the most incredibly niche product in the world, which is the Sport Turismo variant of every other Taycan wagon they've done so far. So you can now get it without the plastic.
If they'll come to the US at this point.
Hopefully they do.
Yeah,
it just needs to come in 2 years when my lease ends so that I can replace it with the wagon. I don't need it now. I just need it in 2 years. Or 911. We're not sure. Could go
Porsche stuff is good. We need to do some Cayenne stuff here pretty soon with the plug-in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, haven't driven a new Panamera or Cayenne plug-in.
Very interested in the new plug-in. I actually came close to buying a 16 plug-in at one point a couple years ago.
A Cayenne?
Yep, a Cayenne.
That'd be a good car for you, Mike.
Well, we were close. I was close to buying it. I thought about it. Found a really nice one with Premium Package Plus and all the good headlights and everything.
And the leather. That's the thing. You never really want to spend the money when you're ordering one, but it's always nice to buy a car from someone who ordered like leather everything, where they do the doors and the dashboard and the air vents and the sun visor. And today I saw a 911 that had a leather wrapped center interior mirror. Never seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen
It's nice.
Wow.
It doesn't look any different, but it feels better. Because it still looks like a black mirror.
That's funny because you're not really usually touching that, but it's you have.
But when you do it, soft touch.
Yeah, just think about the cow that died for your rearview mirror.
The baby cow right there.
I am a fan of leatherless interiors.
If you can give me a good leather alternative like Tesla does, I have no problem giving up leather, truthfully. I really like the Porsche, the Tesla material.
They're always in the worst color combinations.
Yes.
It's like, give me the leather-free stuff, but make it look nice.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to get leather.
So what material do you prefer, Kyle? Like the majority of the interior?
Oh, whatever the Tesla has in there is perfect for me. Yeah,
I like some textiles.
The rest of the interior,
like cool cloths.
Yeah, Polestar.
The new Range Rover has like the new wool
interior.
Yeah. Polestar has whatever. It's a vegan-free interior, but I heard it can feel like kind of like that swimsuity spandex stuff a little bit.
Yeah, it does, but I don't mind it. It's a very
it was soft.
It feels like a outdoorsman jacket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
I don't mind it so much.
Material.
I just don't understand why someone would want a material in their car that A, isn't very carbon effective, B, doesn't wear very well, C, requires a ton of maintenance, and is like just subject to damage and expense and getting filled with grease. Like, leather is not a good material in cars. Like, I don't know who thought this was, but now everyone's doing it. But I love all these non-leather interiors, especially the fabric stuff, the really high quality stuff.
If you can give me like the Tesla synthetic stuff on the seats and then some cool like fabric accents throughout, cloth type things that are more interesting with like premium textiles, there you go.
As much as I hate the Mazda MX-30, I have to give them credit for experimenting and putting cork in their car, and it was nice.
Yeah.
Yep, that is.
Can you pin stuff to it?
You can.
That's all that matters.
I would love to do that. Also, I wanted to throw in here another bit of news. The Winnebago, it is a concept. I'm sorry, but it's based on the Lightning E Motors Ford Transit that we have spent time with, and Kyle even toured the factory.
And drifted and took to a track day.
Yeah, that's right. So the day I met Kyle, he had that E-Transit in his driveway, and he's like, let's go drift, and then this was completely snow on the roads.
You were there for that? No way. That's awesome. I don't recall this.
No, I wasn't there on the track. You just took me out around the neighborhood, and it was like all snow covered roads, and it was like no one out because it just snowed, but it like, I don't know, it was easy, and it was like such a long wheelbase. It was the easiest thing possible to drift. But this is pretty cool. It's, I guess, a distant cousin to Kyle's diesel Winnebago Revel, which is on the Sprinter platform by Mercedes. This is
the superior platform.
Yeah, this is just.
Let's be honest. Yeah,
I actually think the Transit's probably the better buy. Wanted a big Mercedes badge in the front of my van.
I love the steel type wheels on this, and apparently it has a lot of sustainable materials, including like the MX-30 cork somewhere. I think it was in the floorboards or something. But yeah, pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, only 125 miles of range, but it says it caters to a lot of people who don't want to take long trips in their small RVs anyways. Kyle's not one of those.
Kyle's out.
I have a very quick aside here. They say it has up to 125 miles of range, which accommodates for 54% of new RV buyers who prefer to make trips under 200 miles. Well, that still doesn't accommodate for those 54%, because yes, 125 is less than 200 miles, but it is not.
I'm good with 190.
It's really not enough range, and the charging speed on this is not. The problem is the Lightning eMotors platform is not up to snuff. Look,
it's not meant to be a travel vehicle either. It's meant to be a route master.
Yeah, it's perfect for commercial use where vehicles are going on a set loop where you know where that thing is going, and it's great. This is highly inefficient on the highway. We're talking well under 100 miles of range on the highway. That 125 is generous. I don't know if we ever did a range test, but it was around 70 or 80 miles, I think, is what we were getting out of our same chassis, but totally empty. So this might be like a 60-mile vehicle. And
also, if you're not going to sell this and it's your concept, just lie and say it's got more. Because it's you're not going to make it. You don't have to promise anything. We would like to have up to 300 miles. That's all you have to say. You don't say what it is.
Jordan, were you with me when we went to the factory at Lightning eMotors?
Nope.
No. So Timon was with me. We saw this van being produced over time. So we've known about this for the last year and a half. And yeah, it's been fun. But even back then I was like, okay, that's cool. But like, who's going to buy that? And the answer is probably no one will buy it. But cool to see Winnebago, at least expanding, working with a local Colorado company. I think it's all good. I just think, more work needs to be done in this. And this is the perfect application for a range extender. There's so many benefits of having big ass batteries in RVs because, I can't run the air conditioner for a full night in my Revel, in my Winnebago, which I think should be the bare minimum of state.
I agree.
Like, okay, can I get a full sleep in comfort? If I can't even do that, why make it? And I'm just pissed off about my Revel's battery situation. They suck. And so what I've learned is RVs suck. Every single one of them, unless you go to the custom built like Newells or Prevos, all the production coaches, especially the Class
they're
B
really
stuff,
cheap that way.
They're total garbage. And so, this is a great way to solve for luxury accommodation by having a battery electric drivetrain, which you can then tap into for your components. But it if anything, like the range is even worse. So like, I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. What we really need is this drivetrain, and then put like a little range extender 4-cylinder under the hood to keep it going. And that's the best solution here.
I'm shocked we didn't see like a. Yeah, I'm actually shocked we didn't see Chevy, Volt, great product, do a Volt version of the Silverado that's like a range extender with a battery under it that people would probably make into the coolest RVs. That would have been perfect. I don't know why range extenders didn't catch on. They make a lot of sense, especially in these applications.
Yeah, plug-in hybrids, I think, don't make sense. Range extended EVs do.
They do, yeah.
Because a lot of people, don't plug their plug-in hybrids in. I did want to add, what's like the range of the electric only for like the Panamera plug-in hybrid?
About 31, 34 miles, something like that. I've done like 30 in it. In a Cayenne, so the Panamera might be a little better, probably being aerodynamic.
We'll find out. We need to. Yeah, we know Porsche knows we want to test their stuff, and we just need to work on logistics to do so. And we'll do all the EV range test on those. But here's the problem: like every plug-in hybrid does somewhere between 18 and 40 miles.
Yeah.
right? Or
Pretty
maybe
much.
a RAV4 Prime does a little bit more. But when you drive them hard, they all do about 18, 40 miles. That is a compromise from an electric standpoint. If you can have a battery electric system that can go 150 to 200 miles, probably 150 miles, and then you have a backup for the very rare times that you actually go above that, well, then that works pretty well. And the i3 was the perfect case of this.
Mhm.
It worked perfectly for my lifestyle. The only problem with the i3 was the range extender didn't have enough oomph. It needed another, 10 kilowatts just to keep the battery topped up. So the concept's there. No one's made a perfect range extended EV yet, except for, and I hate to admit this, the Karma Rivero is really a good situation. But that car sucks. So
yeah, I feel like an i3 would even make great sense for me right now. Like I was toying with the idea of like some sort of electric car. It's still just terrible market to
They're
buy
amazing used cars. Like you almost can't
but
find a better value.
They used to
than an
be $8,000. Now they're
they used to be way
18.
cheaper. Yeah.
For
Yeah,
a
that's
battery
everything right now.
electric i3, they're $18,000 now.
Yeah, it's
Not even a
pretty.
range
Oh, that's
extender.
not a range extender one.
No, it's
No.
insane. We're living in insane times.
Most of the ones I would want would be in the low 20s for used.
So I think the sweet spot.
Buy a new mini EV for that price.
Yeah, but I don't think a mini EV works for Jordan. I think he does need the gas.
Oh, you do need the okay.
I think you either need a long range EV or a range extended situation. I was just thinking today, I've owned a few i3s, love them more than almost any other car. And we just sold our i3 about 7 months ago, something like that. And so really missing that car. And so I was just like walking around the office today. I'm like, I really want a blacked out i3S.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, that would be the perfect, because now I have a commute. I haven't had a commute in years, but now I have a place to go. And so, the smart car, I don't.
Wait, what happened to all these e-bike trails you're just talking to us about?
Ben, it was 22 degrees in an ice skating rink outside today.
Can you really put a price on your comfort when it comes to the environment we all live in?
Absolutely.
I will drive a straight pipe, diesel, whatever, to feel comfortable. That's the thing. There's like 3 environmentalists that make it seem like they'll give up comfort for everyone, but no one's going to give up comfort for efficiency.
Nope.
Did we ever talk about this, Kyle, on the podcast? I don't know if we did. This i3 was
the i3 This is more than surface level. This guy went
this was cool.
Insane. He has carbon fiber ducting in the back to feed the range extender so it stays cooler. God. And he has look at this. Like an insane build, and he autocrosses it all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want an i3 now. I basically have one, but that's cool.
Yeah,
that's neat.
Is awesome. Rear wheel drive, carbon tub. I think they've aged unbelievably well. This was a car that launched in 2014. This is almost 10 years old, and it looks incredible. Yeah. So I think, blacked out i3S.
There are not a lot of cars that look that good or modern from that time period.
Tesla Model S.
Look at a 2014 7 Series. No.
Yeah, they're starting to age pretty badly. F33 series are starting to look old. Can we also mention, Ben, how many brand new 3 Series, maybe it's different in North Carolina, have you seen compared to Model 3s? And imagine telling BMW 10 years ago that their 3 Series would no longer be relevant.
I have seen, I can think of 2 instances where I've seen a new 3 Series stand.
It's
like of the G20.
When the F30 launched in 2011.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, there were white ones.
They were everywhere. Yeah.
328s.
And maybe it's just because sedans have phased out a lot, but at the same time, I don't see a lot of X2s on the road and X3s.
No, I see more X3s than anything.
But imagine.
I'd be curious to see production numbers, but you couldn't. The Germans would laugh you out of their building if you said because Tesla existed. This company called Tesla is going to make a cheaper sedan, and they're going to wipe the floor with the 3 Series.
And it's
the Model 3 is the new 3 Series. There's no way.
Yep. Model 3 is just the new everything. And I think it's an amazing car and probably the best car for the money. It is stellar in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good car. And only maybe because it doesn't excel in every category, but it doesn't really suck in any category.
No, it does the BMW 3 Series thing, which is it does everything like an 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, whatever it is, which is pretty much better in average than most cars out there, and makes it a great product to own. I mean, it's a car you can easily recommend to anyone.
It has better steering than a 3 Series.
And it's smoke. You buy the slowest one, it
still
past
smokes
the M340.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that I was thinking about that in the shower the other day. I'm like, imagine walking into a German boardroom with this information 10 years ago.
Yeah, they just
funny man.
they would not. There's no comprehension.
You'd never be invited back.
And now look at BMW. They are in total state of disrepair. They are confused. They don't know what they're doing. They're making these ugly cars. They have no idea what to do. So they're like honing in on this emotion and sound design and this like their experience modes. But really at the end of the day, what people want, in my opinion, is just a nice, solid, competent vehicle that doesn't need crazy stuff as excuses. And that's the Model 3. The Model 3 isn't flashy. It has some software gimmicks. No one really ever uses those. They're hidden in the menu. You can, but it's just good at what it does. And it does the German thing better than the Germans. And look, i4 is going to be a good car. It's not even going to make a dent in Tesla sales. No. iX is going to be an amazing car, not even going to make a dent in Model X sales, in my opinion. And so I think they're in serious trouble over at BMW, and they have been for years. And I've been saying that for years. And even after driving their new EVs, I still genuinely believe that.
I think a lot of this modern shopping with these EVs is going to come down to what makes, BMW as an example, sorry to pick on them, but what makes the BMW experience? Because if it's no longer your engine and your powertrain, because every EV has a pretty good powertrain, it's smooth, it's responsive, it's quick, it's got torque, all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's a lot less to differentiate, and you have to do it with a sense of personality. And if their whole personality was, driver's car, engines, you don't pivot quick enough, you're left in kind of that weird limbo. I think I didn't like that Genesis GV80 because the powertrain calibration was not that great compared to other cars that you would try and compare it with. Mm-hmm. But if both things are electric, well, then all of a sudden the GV80's got far more personality than, say, an X3, X5.
So what's funny is out of the 3 German brands, it used to be BMW, Mercedes, Audi in my head as to the brands that I would aspire to own and enjoy driving.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And now I think it's Audi, Mercedes,
BMW. Really? Why Audi?
I love driving new Audis. I think they drive great. I really love tossing them around. The RS6 was incredible. It wasn't really that crazy sporty on the edge, but it was a freaking hammer, and it was very confident in the corners. Even like their A4s or whatever, they're like fun and zippy, and like you can kind of throw them around a little bit, but like a 3 Series doesn't make you feel that way. Audi steering is actually pretty good compared to the others. And then Mercedes is awesome, I think, for certain models and absolutely terrible for others. And it's just very vehicle specific. You get like a C300 and you go like, oh my God, who put this thing together? This engine sucks. Mm-hmm. The transmission sucks.
Whatever the C43 EV equivalent is, that'll be cool. Like the semi-sporty EV kind of thing, that'll be neat. Yeah. Yeah, what's their model? Yeah, everyone, drop your Model 3 competitors, because that's really the car that could be interesting.
The problem,
although maybe SUVs are just going to get too popular.
The Germans still have not figured out electric cars. They're close. They're honing in on it, but I think they're approaching it from the wrong angle. And I'm not sure what the answer is for them, but
they're all approaching it from different angles, which is interesting too.
Well, they've done a lot of great work with iX and i4. And actually, if I was to buy an electric SUV, for me, I'd buy an iX without even thinking about it. Without question, that's the best electric SUV.
R1S? I mean...
I'd say that again?
R1S, Rivian?
Oh, I'd have an iX over an R1S and then an R1S
really?
truck. Yeah, the iX is amazing. That thing is so comfortable.
Mhm.
It has bronze accents.
Yeah,
I mean, the bronze accents are cool.
You get the 22s, which somehow have more range than the 21s, and then you just waft
Do they-
along with
oh,
your
yeah.
30 speaker Bowers and Wilkins. Crazy.
It's only like 102 grand, so compared to a Model X, it's great value.
So my dream spec was 98.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Mine came out to be like 102, but I just
Well,
literally
you're
stuck in
bougie.
everything.
What's the? I guess my issue with it is
My wheels were expensive.
I look at it like an electrified BMW, and the BMWs aren't really doing anything for me these days.
It's a round up new chassis, total new design. It's BMW rethought is the iX.
Can you slide it though? Does it let you turn off stability control fully?
Not
or
fully without the M.
But we don't even know if the M60 will. But who cares? It's got dynamic traction control.
That rules it out. I need to be able to slide. I need opposite lock.
You can't really
That's
do
fine.
that in e-tron.
Yeah, but you could do it in a Taycan Cross Turismo, which is if you squint hard enough, it's an SUV.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
Moving on to the end. That's a good place to wrap it up.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Check out all of our stuff on Twitter @out_of_spec. And then Kyle is it's Kyle Connor. He's posting a lot of stuff we do as well. I am @Jordan_Schiefer. Ben, hopefully, I'll post more Taycan stuff. Benji_OOS.
I'll post photos of the wheels.
Yeah, put photos of the wheels up there for people who weren't watching.
Ben, you post a tweet and then we reshare it, and people love you. It goes bananas.
And if you're ever bored, you can read the arguments in any of the replies because some people don't know I've had multiple Teslas, so they just think I'm an anti-Tesla shill for having a non-Tesla EV. And then there's other people who go argue on my behalf. I don't have to do anything. It's great.
Yep. And then there's M_Breeling for Mike with the Mini EV. So
very controversial vehicle, the Mini.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Mini EVs sold 34,000 units last year. They doubled sales, so people are loving them.
That's good.
Talk about a car that really proves that kind of range is not necessarily the thing holding people back from buying the EVs. Because people seem to love it. They're everywhere.
Since the beginning.
Yeah, but no one listened. That's the difference. But then they saw the Mini with the cool taillights and it's kind of cute. And they're like, okay, now we're open.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time.